Hi guys, I'm Daryl. I'm the founder of Break the Limits. We help advisors to break their limits so they can make more impact and income. For the last few years, we've been helping advisors to achieve their first MDRT, multiple MDRTs, or even COT as well. My firm belief is that when you win your inner game, that's where you have massive success in life. That's exactly the reason why I'm interviewing high-performing advisors to understand the inner game, the inner world, understand the challenges so that I can inspire you to get your unique breakthrough as well. With that being said, let's get started with today's episode. So today I'm here with Seema, right? As of now, she has achieved her JLAC award. And next is that last month, actually, she was the top producer in the entire GE. That's really impressive. Number 3 is that as of now, this month, she's the top 5 producer in the entire company. And without further ado, let's introduce Seema to you guys. Seema, please.
Thank you, Daryl. I am Seema. I'm a financial advisor with Great Eastern. I've been in this business for the last 2 years. I am a mother of 2 girls and I focus on education and retirement planning for my clients.
Beautiful. And share with us so that the audience can understand your background, right? What was your background like and how did you even stumble upon this industry to begin with?
So it was never in my plan to be a financial advisor. I've had people ask me about it before, but I've never really considered switching to the industry. So I think it was more circumstance rather than choice. I was a conference and exhibition producer for 15 years. And then COVID struck in 2020. I obviously lost income because there were no events happening. And it was at that time that I happened to actually contact my then advisor, now boss. She to cash out one of my endowment plans. I had bonuses, and that's when she said, "Hey, you've got such a good personality to join the industry. Why don't you try?" And then I said, "Yeah, I have nothing to lose because I wasn't really having to forgo an income, right?" So I tried. I did the papers. I did well. My husband supported me. And then, I'm here.
You are.
Yes.
Right. And share with us, I probably understand that this career is not the easiest, neither is it the toughest as well, if honestly you know what you're doing, right? So share with us, how was your journey getting started actually?
It wasn't easy because I think different people have different challenges when they enter the business. Frankly speaking, if you're young, out of school, maybe people have trust issues with you. For me, it was a mid-career switch. So most of the time, my friends, especially or my close relatives will ask me, "Are you sure you're making the right decision? Like, why this? Why go into financial services? You could do something else with what you've studied, with your experience." So there was a lot of, I wouldn't say negative. I think they were concerned because I think many people have also failed. And so there's naturally this fear that, you may not excel. And why take this risk at this point when you have young children? And we had a lot of stakes against us. But my husband was very supportive, and he basically saw a gap in this industry. So he said, there are not many advisors who actually serve their clients because there's always this negative impression, negative stigma against financial advisors. So he said, if your heart is in the right place, I think you will do a very good job. So I think he gave me a lot of support, and I think that mattered to me, and that sort of kept me going in this business.
Beautiful. And share with us, right? Just now you mentioned a little bit of like the stigma from, not just stigma, more of concerns from your friends, family, and things like that. But beyond that, right, what are some challenges, right, that you were truly facing during your first 2 years of business actually?
I think the biggest challenge I faced was approaching my warm market. Because, when you hear other advisors, they will say like their main base is their warm market. For me, I found that to be challenging because I'm a very relationship person as well. I value relationships and I don't want it to get soured because of me wanting to do business with them or because of a rejection. In my previous job, I was dealing with a lot of businesses. So it doesn't matter. Like, I don't know these people. And if they reject me, okay, so I can move on. Yeah, right? But then here, these are my actual friends and my family. What if they, I don't want to put them in an awkward situation as well. So it was a bit difficult in the beginning. So I resorted to doing a lot of like cold calling, road shows, and basically building my business through cold.
So was that
market.
your first year?
It was my first year, yeah.
And what changed that you're doing? Are you doing the same thing this year still or what?
No. I think that's when I met you. So I think one of the biggest breakthroughs I think I've had this year is that I have now overcome that fear of speaking to my warm market. And people in my warm market are also more receptive to hearing from me, maybe because they've seen me right through the first 2 years. But I think as a person as well, I have become a lot more confident about what I represent. And now I don't have this, I think I don't go to my warm market, especially like my friends and family, I don't go to them with the intention of wanting to sell them something, right? Because ultimately, if you're my friend and you ask me for advice, because you think I'm a specialist here, I would give you my advice and I wouldn't expect a sale in return. And I think people see through that. And then that's how they eventually become your client.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And share with us, right, besides that stigma or that fear of like reaching out to warm audience, right, what else was holding you back in the career actually?
Holding me back? Well, I think actually it's just the nature of the business, right? Because suddenly you have so much freedom. There is so much time on your hands. And people, like, especially like within my family itself, right? Then you become the errands person.
Right.
Because, oh yeah, you got a lot of time. Yeah, can you take me to a medical appointment? Can you bring me here? Can you bring me there? So that becomes one of my biggest challenges because I can't say no. That was a problem I had. I can't say no easily. And so I said yes to everything. And then suddenly I found myself being burnt out. But the income doesn't actually represent what I'm working for.
You're being busy but not productive.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Understand.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And share with us later on, right? How do you overcome all of those things? And apart from like number one, you're saying that like you're being too much freedom. Right? I'm sorry. Number one is that there's this fear of judgment from friends and family. Number two is that there's too much time. Apart from these two things, what else is holding you back? Was there anything else that's really holding you from getting to your goals?
Well, frankly speaking, no. I've always wanted to excel in my career. I mean, in my previous career as a conference producer, I always did well. I always had recognition. Here, I felt that I was just sort of, sailing through, scraping through in the first year. And I guess it's also because I'm in an agency where everybody is actually very experienced. So they've already got the base, they've already done their groundwork, they've already, gone through this. So for me, it was a bit of a challenge, sort of like trying to scrape through. So I didn't feel adequate. I think that was my in the beginning. I felt maybe I'm not right for this because I didn't feel adequate.
In what sense?
In the sense that I felt that maybe I join this business too late because a lot of them were obviously in the business since
long-timers.
Yeah, long-timers. They've been there since they were out of school. So their base is built around there. And for me, because I'm in my mid-30s, when I speak to any of my friends, most of them will already have their own advisors.
True.
So it felt like, okay, maybe I entered this a bit late. I'm late to the game. But it's never too late, actually. I mean, frankly speaking, I learned a lot of that this year when I realized that people will always, to someone who doesn't see value in what you do, you're either too early or too late.
Yeah, exactly.
It's never the right time.
Understand.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. So I just want to sum up for the audience listening to this. Number one is the fear of reaching out to the warm market. Number two, too much freedom. Somehow abuse the freedom by your friends or family or whatever, right? Or yourself. And number three is that whatever you mentioned, not feeling adequate, a lot of not good enough, right? So these three challenges, right, share with us point by point. How do you overcome the first one, the second and third? So that the audience really can learn something from it.
Okay, so with regards to approaching the warm market, which I found to be the biggest challenge, was that I think after I met you, we discussed this, and one of the key things you told me was to actually practice radical transparency with my friends.
Share with the audience, what does it mean first? Okay. Radical transparency.
So radical transparency is to actually tell the person whom you're meeting exactly what position you're coming from, that you have no hidden agenda, that, yes, I know it's a bit awkward for us to actually have this conversation. And if you think that, it's going to be awkward for you, it's fine. We cannot proceed. But all I want to say is that I'm not here to sell you. I just want to actually review maybe your portfolio, because as a friend coming from a friend's point of view, I just want to know you're adequately covered.
Beautiful. High five to that. I love it. Yeah.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, people started feeling more, I
Safe.
think, safe. Yes. Yeah. They feel more safe, and they can sense the sincerity when you bring up to them that you feel awkward. Like, I know we are going to feel awkward about it because sometimes I found it difficult to even meet a friend for coffee. Even if I really, in my head, I really didn't have any agenda.
Yeah, genuinely want a coffee, right?
Yes. And then they're like, oh, when do you want to meet for coffee and you want to sell me something? I was like, oh, no, I'm not here to sell you.
Correct.
So I think the radical transparency helped.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And beyond that, right, besides that, probably a lot of advisors, right, face a lot of fear. When it comes to reaching out to their own market, they feel a lot of fear because they deep down, they know that they want to hit KPIs.
Yes.
They want to sell. That brings shame.
Yeah.
Hence, they don't dare to pick up the phone and call. How did you overcome that then?
I learned that we only start fearing about our FYC or not being able to hit target if we don't have the numbers, right? So let's face it, if we've got 2 appointments a week, then you're banking all your hope on closing the 2 appointments. But if you have 10 appointments that week, if 2 don't close, it's okay because you still got 8 others. And even if 8 don't close, you've closed 2.
Yes.
So if you have 2 appointments and you don't close 2, then it's 0.
Yes.
But if you've got 10 and you close 2, it's still 2 out of 10.
Fantastic.
So I think, and then you start managing expectations. I think this year, I found myself feeling better when people start, like when they say, okay, I can't make a decision right now, but let me think about it. It's a good plan. I don't feel so rejected. I will follow up with them, but it wasn't like as desperate as it was last year.
I hear you.
Yeah.
So what you're telling me is that the fact that you overcome your fear of prospecting, you actually have more appointments, more cases lined up. Hence, pinning on your 100% hope on one person, right, is no longer the case.
Yeah.
Now you're more detached to it. If it happens, it happens. Cool. Right? Because you know that you're here genuinely to serve, not to sell.
Correct.
Right? And that kind of eats up a lot of your expectations, lesser disappointment.
Yeah.
Understood.
Yes.
And let's talk about the second pointer, right, which you mentioned just now. A lot of freedom, abused by your family and everything. How do you overcome that?
So I had to make the difficult step of saying no.
How was your thought process like when you say no to people?
Actually, it was also from one of your sessions. I remember, like when I brought this up to you, and you said that a lot of successful people are successful because they say more no's than yes.
100%.
And it took me a while because I realized that when I was saying yes, I was saying yes to maybe 5 different people to do 5 different things. I do everything halfway, or I try to scrape through it. At the end, they also not happy. I'm also not happy. Yeah. So actually, who am I making happy, right? Nobody's happy. So I started saying no. I think firstly, I had an open, radically transparent conversation with my parents.
Beautiful.
And I told my mom that, this is my job. And, just like how you wouldn't call like your son to do something because you know that he's at a 9-to-5 job, you also have to know that I'm also like that. But if you do have a certain appointment, just let me know and in advance, and then I can see if I can put that into my diary so that I will schedule it as a priority. So I started working on priorities. I have this do not disturb time where I actually make calls. Every morning 11 to 1, I have to make calls. Then I know that I'm not going to, regardless of what happens, even the sky drops down, I'm not going to go out and help anyone.
I'm extremely so proud of her right now. That's why I'm smiling eye to eye. You know why? If you don't mind being vulnerable and share the audience, right? How were you like in January or even before January? Share with them a little bit.
I mean, yeah, you see when I met you in January, I was in a completely different place.
Exactly.
Yes.
Share with them. How was that looking like?
I think because I am one of those people who really likes to help everyone. So I end up doing just what I just told you I was doing, just helping people and thinking that, they will be happy. But as a result, I wasn't happy myself. And I found myself being very busy, but I'm not seeing the results for it. Then you end up being burnt out. And I didn't have control over my time. I felt that everybody else was controlling my time.
Absolutely.
And not me. So one of the biggest, I think I was trying to become this good mother to make sure that I am there to pick up my kids, to send my kids. And then I want to be this super housewife who cooks and everything. And then I also want to be good at my work and
a good daughter as well.
Good daughter. Yeah. So I found that I'm not a happy person.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think, coming to break the limits actually really helped me take control of my time. Because the truth is, actually our kids don't really need our time all the time. They don't need us to bring them on expensive holidays. If we look after ourselves and we are happy, they can feel the happiness. Yeah.
Yes, that's
so, and I
beautiful.
feel that, and I've seen that in the kids in the last few months as well.
Lovely.
Yeah.
The fact that you take control over yourself.
Yes.
Right? Your time, and then everybody around you is happy about it.
Yeah.
Lovely. And let's talk about number 3, right? This is something slightly more deeper. I'm not good enough. A lot of inadequacy. How did you actually step out of that?
Okay, so that's work in progress.
Yes. Yeah.
But I think one of the first steps I took was to really give. So I'm a very I'm driven by compliments, by appreciation from people. So when I actually get a compliment from my client, or for a job well done, or for advice that I've given them, or for just having processed a claim well, it makes me my day. It makes my day, and then it actually motivates me to do better.
For sure.
So I realized that as a step, I had to look inwards to see what drives me, right?
Yes.
And by looking at what drives me, I started making sure that I play to my strengths. Yeah, I said, okay, people appreciating me makes me feel good, and so let me make sure that whichever client I'm serving, I serve them to my best, do the best I can. Let them see that I'm actually really, going out of my way to do work for them. And then when they send me that appreciation, I feel appreciated. Then then at that point, I'm not afraid to ask them, hey, if you think I've done such a good job, why don't you...
Why not refer?
Refer, yeah. Why don't you ask your, you've got a sister, right? You got I heard your daughter just started working, then they are more willing to refer. And I've started having referrals from clients whom I met at Roadshow, whom I've never actually had a relationship with like 3 months ago. So that's heartwarming. And then I feel like if a stranger can recommend me to his family, then why can't my own friends do it?
True.
There must be something I'm doing right. And then I think then the inadequacy slowly disappears. Because if my friend buys from me, then I can say, yeah, maybe he's trying to be nice to me and supporting me.
Yes.
Yeah. But if it's a stranger and he's recommending his children and all, then I don't think he has an obligation to work with me.
To say that. Yeah.
Yes.
So let me just pause it right there for the audience to understand, and whatever you just mentioned, whatever she said was gold. So whatever she's saying, right, is that in the past she had a lot of inadequacy. And right now she's finding a lot of evidence that like, hey, maybe it's not true. I'm not good enough, it's false, And she understands herself so well that like I drive by external validation. People respect me, appreciate me, and really tell me the fact that I'm good. Hey, shit, there's evidence that I'm good. Even from cold, right? Really, people do not know you, strangers buying with you, still refer you. So all of these things just cemented her belief that, hey, shit, I believe I'm good. I believe I can serve really, really well. And that kind of helped her to get type by. I wouldn't say overcome, I wouldn't say solve it fully, but probably getting better at it.
Yes.
Fantastic. And probably you want to share with the advisors listening to these, right? What 1 or 2 shifts, right, that you made this year that is extremely different from your entire production last year? Probably when it comes to, like average case sizes, how was your inadequacy or this kind of thing harming your case size or harming the ability to serve clients fully? Yeah, share with them very clearly.
So when I think last year, I had difficulty asking people to, it's a very simple thing, asking people to actually pay annual premiums, right? Because there is always an option for them to choose to pay monthly or annually. And then some people will say, oh yeah, I'll just do the monthly option. It's easier. And I just accepted it because for me, it's like, okay, as long as he becomes my client, it's fine,
Yeah, okay, hold it right there. That is a limiting belief right there. That's what I caught, right? As long as someone become my client, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, continue, you're saying.
But then over time, and then I think I discussed this with you because I say if I was going to do monthly, I'm never going to hit this goal of mine, and I had a very short time. And so I think based on what you told me, I worked on trying to normalize asking for annual premiums. Because the truth is, if somebody were to buy a medical plan,
yes,
right, there is no monthly option. It's annual, right? They just do an annual deduction. So then they are willing to pay that annually. So why not for life insurance? Why not for wealth accumulation? Especially when you are going to be getting discounts, when you actually, and frankly speaking, I've also read that if somebody actually pays annually, that's one way of stopping yourself from living paycheck to paycheck, right? So as a financial advisor, it is my responsibility to ensure that my client doesn't live from paycheck to paycheck, right? That's one of my duties. So when I started telling myself that this is my duty to make sure that they don't live from paycheck to paycheck, that they actually
commit.
Yeah, and they enjoy financial freedom. One of the steps to financial freedom is to make sure you make annual payments. So, and I start telling that to clients. Then they start saying, yeah, actually it's normal, right? Like, why am I...
Beautiful. Right?
Yeah.
Do you hear that? In the past, she normalized and give herself an easy way out.
Yeah.
Right? That is comfortable for herself and comfortable for her clients. And right now, when she see a different reality of things, it's like, hey, shit, if I'm very serious about my clients going to their retirement, which means that every single year they allocate this amount, right? And they do it annually, and then they really get to their retirement goals.
Yep.
And this is no bullshit. No, just because 1 month I cannot pay, then doesn't mean I cancel the entire game plan.
Exactly.
Right? So I think all of these shifts, right, really created the kind of transformation she's receiving right now, which I'm extremely proud. If you enjoyed the podcast so far and you're curious to experience the life coaching for yourself, to implement the methods that we teach so that you can see more breakthrough in your income, I highly encourage you to sign up for our complimentary masterclass. Click the link anywhere around this podcast, or you can check it out in any of our social media accounts. And right now, let's get back to the podcast. And I want you to share a little bit more vulnerably, right? I want to jump a little bit before, to the before period where you're struggling at the point of time. How did your challenges at business, right, affected the challenges at home actually?
I think I appeared to be a very unhappy person at home.
Share with us.
Because, okay, I like to be on equal footing with my husband.
Yes.
Although he's very supportive, but I also don't want to be sort of asking him for an allowance or, feeling like he has to shoulder the burden of handling the house bills. So for me, it's like we have to be equal. We have to do 50-50. And I was enjoying that freedom, that sort of when I was actually in my previous job, because you have a monthly salary that comes in, sure. Everything is taken care of and certain, right? Now you're in this uncertain, and I think that uncertainty came in with COVID, because then, for a whole year, there was no income on my side. And I was living off savings. So when I took up this job, I was thinking, oh my God, it's still uncertainty. And so I think that made me feel very uncomfortable. And then I didn't want to be in a position where I can't go and have the freedom to go and buy my own things, or I have to explain, because both my husband and I have very different approaches to money. And and we've talked about it, we acknowledge we have different approaches to money.
Yep.
But at the same time, I didn't want him to compromise his set of beliefs because of me.
Yes.
Or I didn't want to feel uncomfortable, forcing him to do something that he didn't like. Yeah, if I want to go on a staycay, I must be able to have the money to book the staycay.
Yes.
I shouldn't think that,
can I?
Yeah, can I?
Yeah.
And then he'll be like, why do you need it now?
Yeah.
I don't want to get into that conversation. Yes,
yeah. Justify.
And I think so therefore, that was my situation. And then I was, like I said, I was constantly busy and not making money, and that made me frustrated. And then that frustration will go on to the kids, because I'll be spending time with them, and I'll be like, my mind is elsewhere. And I'll feel guilt when I when I send them to bed, and I'll be like, oh my God, I wasn't really here for them, and my mind was all over the place.
Yeah.
So I think I appeared distracted.
Not present.
Yes.
Understood. Like you're trying to juggle everything, but not at your 100% everything.
Yes. Yeah.
And how's things now actually? Now that you have really, really transformed, business looks better, everything internally looks more grounded. Describe to the audience, right? How's things looking like at home, business? How's it like now?
I think the change came when when I did my convention trip this year in April. I took the kids. I decided, because I haven't really been very nice to them last year, so I said, okay, I'll take them on this trip, and they were really, really happy. They were genuinely happy. And just seeing them play with snow, and it was my first time playing with snow, and they've already got it at like 9 and 5. So, for me, that was really like a life-changing moment. And I said, I have to do this for them every year. Like I have to, because I can see how happy it makes them. I mean, it's not the holiday that matters, but the time that I was able to take away from work and spend with them. And I felt that, if my job allows me to do this, why not? And I'm actually in a job that, allows me to plan for people, but at the same time, I can also enjoy the same financial freedom. So I should take advantage of it. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
In terms of in work, how's things looking like right now? The fact that you have kind of like overcome all of these challenges that you mentioned just now. Share with us.
I think, one thing is I'm actually blessed with a very good set of workmates. I know of a lot of people in the industry who complain about their agencies. I don't have touch wood. I don't have that complaint. I get along very well with my workmates, and so we look out for one another. And when I said I was feeling inadequate, it's really because of the years of experience at the start. Because it's a very sales thing. It's a very sales mindset. We always look at our numbers, and that determines whether we feel adequate or not.
Agree.
Right. So, and then when you feel like you're the bottom of the table, you're the bottom of the table, you forget about all the work that you've actually done. You kind of negate it because you feel like, it's not enough, and then what else? How can I close big cases? Maybe I just can't do it, that kind of thing. But now I am talking to people about big cases because I realize that our self-worth is not determined by how much we actually achieve on the board. It's at the end of the day, our self-worth is what is my self-worth, right? Do I go to sleep feeling happy that I have actually said good advice? And if I have, right, then I think I've done myself good that day.
Wow. She's saying all the model answer. I'm very proud of her.
Wow, really? I'm a model student.
Model student. And yeah, so share with us, right? Like really, what was one of the process that made you take up this mindset class, mindset coaching program, right? As compared to a sales or marketing coaching program, so that the audience can really understand your thought process at that point in time.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, to be honest, I have actually attended like all these, Sanjay Tolani workshops, masterclasses or whatever, the ones that are online. Of course, no doubt they are from the industry, but I think what I needed was, because I have a lack of discipline. So I think if I attend a one-day workshop, just hearing concepts is good. Maybe that week I might be happy about it, and I might feel driven and motivated. But I think that even after attending your sessions, there are days that I have bad days.
For sure.
There are days that I have good days, right? So it's not like it's all good. But the thing is that then I think I needed that continuous, that egging to say, no, this is a process.
Right.
So it's not as if you go for one class and tomorrow it's magic, you're going to be top of the table. It is a process. And I needed somebody to be patient enough to take me through this process so that I don't sort of go back into that rut again.
Right.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is that at that point of time, it wasn't so much about a mindset or skill set kind of thing that you're comparing, but more towards I need someone to journey with me.
Yes.
I need someone to watch me transform. Yeah. Because you're very self-aware that cool, probably I will get fluttery and then I'll say, I'll stop somewhere.
Yeah.
Right? So very good awareness right there. And share with the audience a little bit more, right? At one point of time, what was your concern, or do you have any skepticism?
Of
joining a coaching program that is 12 months long?
No, I didn't have any skepticism because I know I signed up for. And I think it's been long enough. I truly believe in training and coaching.
Right.
I'm one of those believers because in my first job, I think the only reason I survived 15 years in the conference business is because in my first job, I had a kick-ass company. They really did really well on training. They invested a lot in training. So I saw the fruits of it and I was able to last that long. But the thing is that I also realized that it's not just about being good at your job. It's about who you are as a person. And a lot of my life approaches now is because of some life experience in the past. And I didn't realize it until I got into this and I found that, I'm doing certain things differently from the 20-year-old me. And, some things have changed along the way. And that's why I have changed as a person.
Yep.
So I think that awareness was so important for me. And so joining the coaching, I think of course it has helped my career, but I think it's helped me as a whole as a person.
In what sense? Tell the audience.
Because firstly, my family definitely sees a difference in me, in the way I approach difficult situations. I was at an estranged friend's event over on Sunday, and I was telling my husband, I don't know whether it's a very delicate situation. Should I go and approach the person and say hello or not? Because he's an estranged friend. But I said, I'll do it. Okay, the old Seema may have just said, just walk away, non-confrontational. Yeah. But I said, no, I'm already here. What have I to lose? Yeah. What's the worst that can happen, right? Yeah. So I go and so my husband said, wow, this is actually quite unlike you, but
it changed you.
It changed me, yeah. And I feel good about it. It's not that I feel bad about it. No, I think I feel good. I feel more powerful. I think people also see that I'm more confident and I'm happy. So I think it's done me so well.
Beautiful. Yeah, I'm so proud of you. Yeah. So share with the audience, right? Probably you can share what's one advice would you share with let's say a financial advisor right now who's struggling to speak to his warm audience, probably struggling with ill discipline, probably not consistent, and also a little bit of inadequacy. Specific like yourself, what would you share with them? A piece of advice that can really help them.
I think the first thing we've got to do is to pause and step back and then ask ourselves why we're doing this. Because if we don't have a compelling why, I mean, if just ask yourself, if you want to get married, the first thing you'll ask is, why am I getting married? Why? It's such a big life decision. Why? Yeah. Right? You will ask yourself so many whys. Is this the right time? Am I doing it? And so you actually enter it not on a whim, right? So in the same way, I think even in this career, whether you decide to exit or to enter, the first thing to ask yourself is why? And I think your whys will be shaped by so many layers. And it's important to know because it can be an evolving why as well, right? Like for me, when I entered this business, it was purely because of of a need. I said, okay, I need to actually find something to do so that I can enjoy the flexibility and pay my bills.
Yes.
And then it transformed later. It changed. In the 1 year later, I said, no, I'm here because I want to make a difference in the industry. There is such a stigma. I should be a different person.
Yes.
Yeah, I should break it. I should tell people that I'm different, and then you work towards that.
Yeah.
So when you start discovering that, right, your purpose becomes greater than the numbers that you're chasing. And when that happens, people on the other side will see it. They will definitely see it because we are humans. I will know if you're trying to sell me something or not.
Yes.
Like it's very obvious. So if you cannot be, with no disrespect, but you cannot be like a car salesman. You're not there to sell a product. You are there with somebody who's going to experience delayed gratification. It's not like as if somebody signs a policy with me and tomorrow he's winning a lottery. It doesn't work that way. His fruits will only be seen like 10, 20 years down the road. So for him to do that with me, he has to trust me first. And I think if we are like honest with our clients about our intention and we genuinely want to serve, they will see it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think she mentioned many times, I'm here to serve, not to sell. Serve, not to sell. So the audience listening to this is the powerful thing that you can learn from her, right? That you can emulate. Serving, not selling. I think that brings a lot more pride and not shame.
Yes.
And that's where your confidence will go up. And that's where you see your performance going up as well because you start prospecting. Beautiful. And I might want to challenge you a little bit. Let's go deeper. At one point in time of your career, right? Because now you're 2 years in, right? Was there a period whereby you were facing a rough time? And can you describe it to the audience?
A rough time can be, well,
your definition.
My definition is that my FYC I remember taking paycheck was like $328.
You still can remember the details.
I still remember because I was like, oh my God, because I think we talked about standards, right? Recently. And then you said, oh, would you accept $500 as a pay? And I think that was my wake up call because it was a month or two before that I had done quite well, reasonably. I had done 6,000 or 7,000. So then the following month, my activity rate dropped.
Yep.
As a result, my appointments dropped and then obviously the FYC dropped. And then when I saw 328, I was like, oh my God, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Right? And did I go out and party this whole month? The answer is no. Was I actually having a lot of fun? The answer is no. So why have I not actually, why have I not been consistent? And I think that it was a rough patch because I felt like, I see my confidence also dipped.
Yep.
And I didn't know where to go from there. And there was no excuses. I can't blame,
Yeah.
who am I to blame?
Because
we are in a self-employed.
Yeah.
Right? So who am I to blame? So it was tough. And I think it made situation at home also a bit, rough because my husband was like, okay, I know you're trying, but what's happening? Or like, do you need more time out? I was trying to figure things out myself. I think it was difficult for me because I wasn't able to put my finger on what went wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it happens to a lot of people. Like,
For sure.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. And what did you do specifically for this incident, right? That brought you out of it actually?
Actually, I was I was in that pity party for a very long time. I think I was like that for about another month. And then I told myself, no, I have to snap out of it. If not, I will just got winning and losing are both habits, right? You continue winning, you will just win.
I love that.
Then you lose, so you continue losing, right?
Yeah.
So if you start normalizing, getting such low FYCs, then that will be the case. So I told myself, no, I have to go out, I have to meet people. Then that's when I actually signed up for road shows. So I signed up for road shows because I said, okay, whatever it is, right? If I'm not out making appointments, then I will be here at a roadshow. So like roadshow became like my punishment for not making appointments.
Right.
Because then you're forced to actually go there and meet people.
Yes.
Yeah, there will be some activity.
For sure.
Yeah.
And then when was your breaking point whereby you said bye to the old Seema? Describe that to us. Like, what was the turning point? Right?
So the turning point was definitely somewhere, I think if I were to put my actual finger on it, it would be like somewhere in March.
Yeah, what happened?
April this year. Because, one thing is, I had qualified for the GLAC. I brought my kids on that trip. And I saw that there were far more achievers, so many people who were doing so much in this business. And then I said, if they all can do it, why can't I? I mean, it's not rocket science. We all have equal access to resources. And I think we can, if we put our mind to it. There's something, and all of them were talking about having the right mindset. So it's, the winning people, right, all talked about having a right mindset. So then I realized, then it's really, really in my control. It's not a case where I can't do this because, it cannot be you meet 100 people, all 100 people say, I don't want to work with you.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not, the fault is not outside. It will be within. If I want to make a change, it has to come from within. And so I told myself, I have to make that difference because I cannot let another year pass by.
Yeah.
And then because then the other year will snowball to another year. And each year I'm just getting older, right?
True.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So that was March was the turning point where you normalize winning, hang out with winners.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful. Okay. And then how's things looking like now? Or like what's the aim that you're moving towards actually? What's the next upcoming, exciting plans for yourself?
So exciting plans is, in terms of career, yes. In terms of my goals, I do want to get my first MDRT this year.
Okay.
And I think I'm very much on track. I should clear it in the next month. And I do want to, because I think I remember telling you when I first joined that my eventual goal is to, if I want to make a significant difference in the industry, then obviously I need to hire a team. And I think I have a lot to offer. In fact, earlier this year, I had recruited one of my clients who actually, saw, he obviously for him to come through to work with me, he must have seen he must have seen something.
Yeah.
So I said I'm sure I can actually work with with more people to try and make a difference, because if I can sort of impart this mindset into another maybe 10 people, those 10 can impart it to another 10, and then
more leverage and there's more impact.
Exactly, there's more leverage and more impact.
Beautiful.
And then I think the industry as a whole will also, I think it needs to we need to gain more respect, because I feel generally itself when I hear, when you see someone or you see your financial advisor, the first thing they do is,
no, scared.
Scared, yeah. So I think it's been, sadly, we are facing the consequence of things that have been done wrong in the past, lah.
Agreed.
So it's time for us to set it right, and I think I have the right mindset to do it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And what's one last advice you want to give to the audience listening to this?
I think you have to. I will go back to talking about self-worth. I said that I don't ever question your self-worth or just rule it down to the numbers that you are achieving. I think your self-worth is much bigger than that. This whole process is to actually make you understand who you are, and who you are is not determined by what you have actually achieved. If you can take that, if you can separate that, then I think you will be a happier person, and that itself will set the path for you to actually achieve more.
Beautiful. For those of you who like whatever that Seema has shared, and where can they find you at, Seema?
So I have an Instagram handle, Finance with Seema. So you can find me there.
Beautiful. All right. For those of you who like this episode, you can like, share, subscribe, and then do follow us on our social media channels as well. And I'll see you guys in the next episode.